Hey guys, Fourfinger here, and it's been a while since I posted my last video. I was mostly waiting for the new patch announcement, and with that being right around the corner, I thought this was a perfect time to talk about buffs and nerfs that I would love to see in the next patch. Now, I probably forgot to add a lot of things I had on my mind, and you might agree with some of those, maybe not with the others. Let me know what you guys think, but let's start list off with buffs and weapon skills. And when I say weapon skills, I mostly mean stuff like Chaos Bolt, Bomb Blast, pretty much any ability that comes from the weapon itself. And the issue right now is we cannot reach level 20, so not only are we losing a little bit of flat, we also can't get that final support link. So I assume they're just going to add higher item level bases, and then this is going to be possible. And I would love it if Prism of Belief also included those weapon skills, because most of them are kind of a payoff. They don't have a mana cost, but they do have lower scaling compared to the other abilities. So scaling levels on those abilities in particular is way more attractive because you don't have to worry about mana, and then eventually just, I think more people would build around this. So I think it's really fair, and also getting like a perfect stave, just reading shards, level 20, and all the stats that you need would be way, way harder than people think. So I think this is more than fair, and I think this should be in the game, but we'll see. Armor, everybody knows that armor sucks. Honestly, it's okay for the campaign, it's even okay for mapping, but as soon as you start taking some bigger boss hits from physical damage, it becomes a little bit crazy, because if the boss was to hit you for 3k face damage, you would need like 90k armor to reduce it by 75%, and that just feels like, nuts. So hopefully they rebalance the formula and make it a bit better, but it is what it is for now. Life is kind of okay if you go hybrid or if you go with some strength on top of it, but going just life doesn't really feel good. I don't think it should be under 3k at the end game, and it mostly is. So hopefully they just add some maybe increased percent life on the gear if they don't want to do it on 3 or something like that, maybe even on the jewels, but I just think life needs a little bit of love right now. Next thing we have is to total attack time, and I think this should just be removed from the game and balanced around the modifiers. What do I mean by that is that you have quarter stave skills I don't know, vaulting impact, whirling assault. They just feel so terrible to use because of this mode. And then also for the maces, Rolling Slam has 1.5, you have Sunder with 1.4, and all of those abilities are really clunky to use, and you cannot change that with scaling attack speed. So my idea was to remove this entirely from the game, maybe just leave it on the Lip Slam so people can't, abuse it for movement, and then get the less attack speed modifier. So if somebody wants to invest a lot into attack speed to make it a little bit less clunky, they should be able to do so. That's just my 2 cents on the topic, but this just really feels bad. I really don't like it, honestly. Next thing that we do have is skill gem level balance, and what I mean by that is just some abilities do not have items that would further scale the levels. Like melee skills have the gloves, minion skills have the helmet. I mean, bow has the quiver and the widow hill to get crazy amounts, but crossbow, for example, doesn't have anything on top of the amulet, weapon, and stuff like that. So I would just hope that they add something for each of the skill types, so they can all reach level 40 with super high investment. If you have perfect gear, corrupted and everything, you should be able to reach level 40 on every single ability, and I think it's just one more cool way to scale some of the stuff. So hopefully we do see that. Skill rebalance, I'm not going too deep into this one, but there's a lot of skills that are not really being played right now. Like I said, physical stuff on the monk, elemental fire stuff besides maybe flameless that I really loved. There's a lot of skills, honestly, that are really underperforming. Even Arc compared to Spark is terrible, and I'm talking without Archmage, without mana stacking. I just think Spark has way more ways you can scale it compared to Arc, so they just need to rebalance it a bit when it comes to abilities. It's not in a rush, it's early access, I get it. It's just like I said, some things need more love. When it comes to charges, I honestly love charges in PoE 1. It's kind of cool that they want to do something in PoE 2, and for mapping it's mostly fine. I just don't like the generation of the charges on bosses. You have to either use Sniper Mark, Monk can use Belt and stuff like that, unless you're using some unique, which gives you crits and stuff like that. I just don't really like the way they work right now, so I would prefer if they make it so that you can get charges easier, but then balance the skills around that, than having the hard time generating charges in the first place. That's just my 2 cents on this, but you guys can, maybe you disagree, it's up to you guys. Next thing we have is damage over time, and I'm mostly going to be talking about ailments here, so Ignite, Bleed, and Poison. They made a scale of the initial hit, and there's only a couple of abilities that you can build around to make those things actually pop off, and I don't really like that you don't have too many ways of scaling them. like unless you're playing like Hammer of the Gods, Plasma Blast, maybe Poison Concoction and stuff like that, there's not too many great abilities to scale them right now, and they are adding some more support gems, so hopefully that helps. But it's also really unintuitive in how it works right now. I think a lot of newer players don't really get it. For example, penetration doesn't help you one bit, even though it's gonna make initial hits stronger. The Ignite is based on the hit before boss defenses and before the debuffs on the boss. They basically just wanted to make sure you cannot double dip from anything, and I think it's really unintuitive for a lot of players. If you guys want, I can make a full video explaining builds, but for now, like I said, they just need more sources of scaling it, because it's not enough. That's just my 2 cents. Chaos damage in general, like I said, also needs more skill tree stuff. Hopefully they add like more nodes or something, because only really good like chaos ability that I played was Dark Effigy Totem, where I stuck like Spirit and then that shield which gives you spell damage, and then I had like 6 totems or something, and then it was really good bossing. But in general, I just don't think besides that I played anything crazy chaos-wise. I mean, sure, Poisonous Concoction is one of those skills, but not too many great skills, I would say. They just need higher scaling or more sources to increase it. That's it. Mana cost, now I don't think in general, I think mana cost is kind of fair on a lot of abilities. I just mean depending on what are the requirements for specific weapon types, the mana cost should be like more adapted to that, because warriors giving like some 1k mana cost on high item levels just doesn't make too much sense. I'm not a warrior main, guys. I swear, I don't play warriors that much. I just generally think they do have a lot of like downsides right now. So I hope they adjust mana cost a little bit, and some abilities are a little bit too expensive, so yeah, that's pretty much it. When it comes to ascendancies, there's a few that are really like kind of in a bad place right now. So when it comes to a warrior, like the Warbringer, like those 2 nodes are so terrible, because the way armor works, they are kind of useless in the late game. Those other stuff are meh. Honestly, I just think they should rework Warbringer. You have Witch Hunter, which like is mostly like terrible. I don't think that many people play it right now. It's just really in a bad spot. What else is bad? Acolyte of Chayula, I would say, is in a terrible place. Everything else is kind of okay. I mean, Chronomancer is kind of a niche ascendancy, same like the what's called the Pathfinder. Unless you're playing Concoction, I don't think you would build around this too much. But maybe some Flask shenanigans. But yeah, in general, like those two ascendancies are really niche, but those 3 are really terrible. Like Chayula, Witch Hunter, and Warbringer, they need a rework. That's just my opinion on that. Then we have support gems. There's a few builds that I play that I just can't find a 6th link. Or if you like want to use ability 2 times, one for bossing, one for clearing, it's kind of a struggle. Like I said, they are adding more support gems. I hope they like rebalance some of the ones that we have. So for example, you have Decaying Hex, which is really good early on. It scales from your intelligence, but because it only has chaos on it, you can only scale it intelligence and chaos. Nothing else will scale this. And in the end game, as you can imagine, it's not that great. There's a lot of support gems that would like, they should probably make it also like a spell based, like even though it's a support gem. Maybe just to increase it further. We'll see how they approach this, but like I said, we just need more like support gems, more balance around what we have, and we'll see how that one works out. Now bottom side of the tree is like really bad right now. Like I said, mostly remove the reduced attack speed. I mean, they should also reduce the damage obviously, but just remove those reduced attack speed nodes. I really hate this one. I think there's also here, yeah, there's a lot of those nodes that have reduced attack speed, and on top of it, because armor is in such a bad spot right now, a lot of those armor nodes are like, you know, terrible. Like, I would never pick them. I would rather go like even an evasion on the warrior than go armor. So hopefully this side of the tree gets more love once the armor is fixed. But yeah, that's it for now. And I really hope they add masteries, like we had in PoE 1. We had them in the database, but I don't think half of them are even finished, or even if they are same in like PoE 1. But eventually we should have the masteries on the skill tree, and that's gonna be like way more diversity in a sense how you build it. What else do we have? Weapon set, jewels, and anoint. What I mean by this is like there's so many builds I wanted to play. For example, I want to play artillery totem, artillery ballista, but because it's a totem, I couldn't pick it wasn't really good for clear, for mapping. It was kind of clunky, even with the totem speed and everything else. So I wanted to do some other ability for mapping, and then use artillery for bossing because it's amazing in the higher level scaling. And I just came to a conclusion like not being able to pick the totem jewels because I want to use another abilities in the maps just doesn't feel great. So this would be expensive. You would need like a double set of jewels, but I think this is really cool. I think they should add this, and also for the anoints. Some anoint might be good in a weapon set 1, but not for the weapon set 2. Maybe in the near future they add this, maybe not. We'll see how that works out. And finally, uniques. There's a lot of uniques that need like buffing and like, and I went through all the unique lists multiple times. There's maybe like 10 that I used overall, and that's it. Like, I mean, there's so many chests that have really good potential. I don't know, like, let's say for the power charges, the crit one, this chest is cool. You could make, like, as we said before, generating charges easier, but those, like, defenses are just so trash. Like, first of all, it's armor, and then it's such low armor that just doesn't feel good. Honestly, they should just separate leveling uniques and endgame uniques. Sure, something should be bad and just for leveling, you know, you don't want to build around it in the endgame, but there, a lot of those chests should be endgame and scaled accordingly, because right now it's, I don't know, like, also like Iron Grip, for example, the, what's called, the, just find the chest, Iron Grip. Yeah, this is the one. Like, scaling the strength for, you know, spell damage or projectile damage would be really cool, but because this chest is so terrible, it's kind of hard to justify using this spot for it. But you get the idea, so uniques in general. Let's go to the obvious nerfs. Everybody's been talking about this for a while. Herald of Ice. Honestly, just remove the elements from the heralds. Make them not be able to chain. That's a good start. See how it feels. If it's still a little bit, you know, strong, maybe remove a little bit of radius, AoE. You can start there. I think that would like help out a lot with how it works. Then you have stuff like Grim Fist. As everybody knows, it overflows your ES and doubles it. And only reason why I think ES is that good is because of the Grim Fist. So if we just remove the overflow from the Grim Fist, making it's still a good way to recover in maps. You're constantly killing stuff, you can constantly, you know, pick up those like souls and recover ES. It would still be okay, I guess, especially if you're not playing like some evasion build and don't use the Ghost Dance. So this would make ES a lot more balanced, maybe just a little bit more nerfs on the tree, and I think it would be way, like, more in terms with the other defensive layers. That's just my 2 cents. Detonate Dead. Detonate Dead is one of the craziest scaling abilities in the game right now, so let me just show you what I mean. So if you get like brutes, getting them to level like 36 is not that hard, honestly, it really isn't. But if you get a brute to level 36 and you get like mid shield, for example, which is support for more life, and then you go for the chi, let's go witch for the sake of the argument, and then type minion life, and you just pick few of those nodes. Let me just show you what I mean. You have it like here, I don't know, like few of those here. What else do you have? I think those are recoup, yeah. So let's just say we have those many nodes, and then you get like any decent weapon, like some scepter, like whatever it is, but just with minion life. So what you're looking at is a, let's not go full, let's like here. You are looking at like 73k total life on the minions, and the it does 0. So we have 73k, let's say, times 0.2. So you have base damage of 14k on level 36. Now, it's possible to get level 40 even on a specific setup, which would get you up to like 100k life, which is effectively 20k flat base hit. And then you can also scale this further with the jewels and so many other sources. It's just nuts. You can scale it with Dark Mage, you can scale it with anything. Only issue with this build is the clunkiness of the minions. But Temporalis can solve that. I made a build around it. There's so many ways to go around it. I just generally think that the Detonate Dead needs a nerf. In a sense, it should be like maybe 12 to 15%. 20% is too high. They shouldn't change the minion life, that's fine. They should just make the scaling of the ability different. That's because I played it a lot, trust me, this is one of the most broken bossing abilities I ever played. For mapping, it's meh, but you can build around something else on the weapon switch for mapping if you wanted to, so yeah. Tempest Bell. I was a monk main, I mostly played monk, and Bell is just ridiculous. Like, from as soon as you get it to the end game, it's ridiculous all the way, and there are few ways they can approach to fix this. Way number one is make it only work with the attacks or maybe strike skills, so people cannot use Eye of Winter, Ball of Lightning and stuff like that. Or maybe if you want to still be able to proc it from certain stuff, make it just be a percent based. But if you do it like that, it will only become like a more multiplier eventually. So I think just making it not work with spells would be a good start. And we'll see how that would scale further. That's just how I would go about it, because like I said, Eye of Winter is crazy value. Not only are you keeping the 10% flat crit on the boss, you're also proccing the bell. It's just nuts. Lightning Rod, I don't think it's OP as the bell, but it's still really strong. Mana is the only issue which people mostly solve with those unique rings. Unique ring. And I just think they should make it so that projectiles don't affect how many of them you spawn, but they buff it like a bunch. Which means you can't use cutter shot and projectile scaling, you can just, put one at a time. It would also deal with the lags and stuff like that, but just make it do a lot more damage, so it's at the point where it's not lagging people out, it's doing decent damage, but nothing crazy. That's how I would approach Lightning Rod. Early on it's not OP, like early on it's fine, I'm just talking late game. Bone Storm debuff. This is probably one of the most broken things I've discovered lately. I mean, maybe like few days ago, I finally decided to look into Bone Storm, and you can potentially reach this. Not potentially, you can easily reach level 40 on the bow with Widow Hail, and you can do this on a weapon switch. And this is 2.8k to 4.2k flat. That scales with everything else. I made Hammer of the God build that can do like 300 million damage with this. It's like, it's insane. It's just crazy the amounts of damage you can do with this. So I think they should just, nerf the higher levels. Low levels are fine, but maybe at some point, like here, where it starts getting crazy, they should probably slow it down a bit. Because, like I said, there's so many bossing setup that you can do. I did it with Artillery Ballista, with Shockwave Totem, it's just really OP for bossing. You don't do this on the maps, it's just for bossing, and I think it's OP. So yeah. Archmage, mana stacking, just nerf Archmage by like almost, like maybe maximum 3% or some stuff, and then also make it that you can get those insane amounts of mana. I think that they just need to over-nerf this, because it's gonna be OP either way. People still reach like 12k mana or 17k mana on gambling, whatever they go for nowadays. I stopped caring after 10k. I mean, in general, it's just too crazy right now. They just need to figure out how they're gonna balance this, like a lot. Finally, we have specific uniques. By specific uniques, I mostly mean stuff like, let's start with the armor sets first. So Hands of Wisdom, the obvious one. Of Wisdom? There we go. Honestly, they should just make this 25. For 25 intelligence, I would be fine with it. It would be like decent nerf. It would still be okay to use, but nothing crazy. So if they made it like 25, this should be fine. But they also really need to nerf the stave, which is the pillar of the Caged God. They can do they can go about two ways when nerfing this. They can either leave it as a leveling unique, which would like make it so that you can only get to a cap, like maximum cap, like maybe 200 to 300%, like on increased weapon damage, maybe 50 attack speed, 100 area effect, whatever. They should make some cap if you want to keep it as a leveling stuff, or they can just straight up nerf it and then make it like you need way more stats in order to get those crazy amounts of like movement from the Tempest Flurry and stuff like that. That's just my 2 cents on this one. Now, what else? So that was, let's go to Temporalis is cool. Honestly, I just don't think it should work with Blink. I really love this line. It's build enabling, it's expensive, it's hard to get, I understand. But the Blink part just kind of doesn't feel right to me. It feels kind of bad too. Especially the way they wanted to approach PoE. It just doesn't feel good. So hopefully they remove the Link interaction, but everything else is fine. I have no other problem with Temporalis per se. So what else is kind of OP right now? Maybe they should probably, like, Ingenuity should go up to 60%, and then if you corrupt it, you can go like, what, 60... it would be 60 times 1.25 the max. Yeah, so let's say 73 would be like max possible corruption. It will still be really good, because right now, whenever I'm not playing a build that uses Ingenuity, it feels bad. Like, I feel like I'm missing out on it. I mean, it should be good. It's an endgame bossing build. Sure, it's great. But it shouldn't be like a must. And right now, if I don't use it, it really feels so bad. Besides that, did I forget any other uniques that are kind of busted? I'm sure there's something that I forgot. 100%, but oh yeah, of course, the worst one. Now those ones don't need to be nerfed, they just need to be fixed. It's not nerf, it's not a matter of values and stuff like that. The interaction is just broken. Anybody who's justifying this is like coping. I mean, I made a damn Firestorm build, a spell that does no damage to one-shot the boss. You can literally punch the wall and one-shot the boss. It's just crazy for people who are still like defending this item. So they just need to fix it. The percentage and everything is fine, just make it either not work with the your skills, or just make it chain scale off of each destroyed wall and stuff like that. You get the idea. So those are the uniques. And then finally, forced forward and backward movement on abilities such as Molten Blast. It feels terrible, especially for bossing. You have to like place shield wall close to you, so you can just barely touch it with the hand, so you can stay in place and attack. It just feels really bad. I would also love it if the Frozen Locust didn't have it, but they didn't intend Frozen Locust to be a bosser. I just made a build around it and two-shot bosses, but I don't think that was their intention. It was meant more like an escape movement ability, so that's fine, but Molten Blast definitely needs that, 100%. Demon Form generally just needs a rework, because there's so many skills I wanted to play on Demon Form that are from weapons, but because it can't use weapons, it feels bad, so I would probably remove those two lines and enable the weapons on it, and then also cap the spell damage that you can get. You can still, indefinitely scale the form, but it's so stupid, scaling crazy amount of life sitting before the boss and then just coming in and one-shotting the boss. I don't think that's good for the especially for the racing event and stuff like that. Not that anybody cares about it. I just think they should cap it at like, I don't know, 50 stacks or something like that, maybe 100, like whatever. Just in general, I would love it if you could use weapons and remove those 2 lines. That would be like kind of balanced and fair. And what do we have at the end? Crafting and currency sync. Now, generally, we need a lot more ways to craft, because crafting right now is like, you know, you throw stuff at the wall. If something sticks, great. If not, you will try again, you know. It just doesn't feel right, and everything that's from omen-wise is just really expensive, and it's like, you know, for like top 1% of the players. So I don't think it's in a good spot right now. And I really think we need a currency sync because of the economy, because as you've seen, the Divine Exile exchange ratio is kind of nuts. And having in PoE 1 we had the crafting bench and a lot of meta crafts that would eat up those divines, making it like a lot better for the economy. Hopefully they figure out some other system that could eat up some of the currency and make it more balanced. But we'll have to wait and see. For now, this is just what I had from top of my head. Let me know if I forgot something, or if you think that I maybe made a mistake, or you think something is balanced, let me know. But in general, this is just the main stuff that came to mind. So thank you guys for watching. I'm so happy to see the announcement soon. And the spear is coming out. I'm gonna be making spear guides 24/7. Gonna be the main spear guy out there. So yeah, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you in the next one.